Walk into any modern language classroom and you'll see a lot of energy. Students are performing role plays, collaborating in groups, and having active face-to-face conversations. We have plenty of creativity. What we are missing is measurable evidence that learning actually happened during these activities. Many programs rely on the CEFR framework. It provides excellent can-do statements, outlining what a learner at an A2 or B1 level is expected to accomplish. But it doesn't tell us how to consistently measure that performance, or what constructs to evaluate to ensure our scoring is reliable. To solve this, we need a better system. By pairing an authentic, real-world task with a highly specific analytic rubric, we can take something as complex as communicative language ability and make it entirely visible, measurable, and defensible. Step 1 is defining the task and its level of fidelity. You start by selecting a target CEFR level, say A2, and then identifying an authentic scenario for the student to navigate. A low-fidelity test is a multiple-choice grammar quiz that tests isolated knowledge. A high-fidelity task requires genuine, unpredictable communication, where the learner has to adapt on the fly. For professionals, high-fidelity communication is often high stakes. Think of an air traffic controller managing live operations at a terminal. Similarly, medical professionals reviewing patient X-rays must relay precise information and collaborate effectively to ensure an accurate diagnosis. This table categorizes tasks by their level of fidelity and standardization. Notice how the assessment types move from low-fidelity written exams on the right to moderate-fidelity simulations in the middle, all the way to high-fidelity, unstandardized on-the-job performances on the left. A valid language assessment needs to mimic genuine pressures. If your target is an A2 student, the test shouldn't be circling verbs. It should be successfully resolving a simulated problem at a restaurant. Once we have our task, we move to step 2, mapping tasks to specific learning domains. This expands our evaluation far beyond vocabulary. First is the cognitive domain. This covers the internal processing of the language and how well the learner constructs meaning. Second is the affective domain. This looks at the student's willingness to interact, their confidence, and how they manage tone during the conversation. Finally, we have the psychomotor domain. This focuses on the physical delivery, fluency, and articulation of their speech. Effective communication requires all three. To grade an assessment properly, we have to measure their physical execution and their emotional interaction, not just their memorization of grammar rules. Step 3 aligns those three learning domains with a formal theory, specifically the Communicative Language Ability Framework, developed by Lyle Bocklin and Adrian Palmer. This flowchart outlines their approach to test design. Notice the central pathway connecting the design blueprint directly to specific test task specifications. This ensures every test is built on a solid theoretical foundation. We can translate that theory into a practical 5-part checklist. It starts with task achievement. Did they actually complete the core CEFR goal? Then it breaks down the specific skills they used to do it. Organizational knowledge covers the grammar and vocabulary used to build the sentences. Pragmatic knowledge evaluates if those sentences were actually appropriate for the context and the speaker's role. Then we add psychomotor performance for pronunciation and affective engagement to see if they actively initiated interaction or just passively responded. This framework acknowledges that we cannot directly observe the black box of internal mental processing. Because of this limitation, our assessments must rely entirely on the observable outputs, what the student actually says and does, to generate a defensible score. Now we take those 5 constructs and move to step 4, drafting the actual text descriptors for our grading rubric. This is an example of a weak rubric. It relies entirely on non-operational language like good grammar, fluent, or less confident. Words like good and fair are completely subjective. Without strict, observable indicators, 2 different instructors using this exact table will give the same student 2 completely different scores. Let's swap those out for an optimized rubric. Here, we replace the vague adjectives with precise, operational verbs that describe specific actions. Instead of rating a student's fluency on a subjective scale, we evaluate their psychomotor performance by listening for hesitation. A top score requires a smooth delivery. A middle score allows for occasional hesitation. For pragmatic knowledge, we measure appropriateness. We check if the student successfully adapted their tone to match a specific role, rather than simply counting the vocabulary words they used. Ultimately, the reliability of your rubric depends on this shift from subjective impressions to measurable, observable behaviors. By walking through these 4 steps, a simple CEFR can-do statement becomes a robust, multi-layered measurement tool. Under this framework, we no longer test grammar in isolation. We evaluate it in its proper context as a necessary support system for authentic communication. Take a look at your own speaking rubrics. Apply this framework to locate the vague descriptors, map out your learning domains, and write strict, observable behaviors. When we base our grading on specific, defensible evidence, we align the rigor of our assessments with the creativity in our classrooms.